Good morning, you beautiful souls. Welcome to your morning messages with me, Michelle. I am here to help you along your awakening journey or to help you traverse any tough life decisions or situations, or just maybe to help you fall a little bit more in love with yourself, your life, and your purpose. So I got called to share a little something with you all to start off these morning messages. I got this in my DMs this morning from a friend. And I felt like it's important for us divine feminines to know what's going on with the divine masculine energy on our planet. So here we go. Dear women, there is a new breed of men awakening on this planet, and he does not fuck around. He knows exactly what he wants. And right now my left ear is ringing. It's a good sign. He knows exactly what he wants. He shows up for you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and sexually. He learned how to treat women while transmuting his own emotional pain and heartache into power, then use that power to alchemize his fear into love. He remembers, my ears just are buzzing even more. He remembers his position as a man, a protector, and a lover for the woman sent to him by God. He treats you like a sacred phenomenon from heaven and wants you by his side as a partner, lover, and friend. Beautiful message. So our divine masculines are rising. And I was looking at my channel recently, and I was looking at to see, I just wanted feedback to see what videos are getting the most views, what do people want more of? And my two videos, I believe it was about how to attract a divine connection, like when we talked about the divine feminine. So I feel like my divine masculine feminine videos are getting the most views. So I think that's a sign that people are interested in learning about this, and they're trying to understand how to come into healthy, awakened connections. So speaking of that, let's start off this reading as a relationship reading. So we're gonna do, oh my gosh, it's Thursday, isn't it? We're gonna do Sexy Thursday. So we're gonna use my Sexual Magic Tarot, the Tarot of Sexual Magic, and see what comes out. 8 of Cups. This is beautiful. They're dancing. Look at those roses, or I don't know if they're roses, but those beautiful flowers. There's a cup with a cherry on top type of vibe. They're graceful. And this is a really non-sexual card. Usually all the cards are really risque in this deck. Here's an example. So normally they're half naked, but this one's really sophisticated, and it's a higher love. It's a higher connection. It's an awakened man knowing how to treat his woman, taking her on dates, courting her, moving slowly, allowing her space to get to know him, and allowing her to trust him and to build that safe zone. It is so important for us ladies not to open ourselves up too quickly and get attached before we know it's a safe zone. Because sometimes people put on a show of who they want to be when they first meet you, because they see you as this goddess, and you girls are all goddesses, and you need to stand in your power and own that. But sometimes your energy emanates a certain way, and it pulls them to be better. And a lot of people want to use your energy to better themselves, but they're not helping. They're not reflecting that back to you. They're not adding value to your life. So you always have to ask yourself what's missing. Don't just go with whoever's giving you attention. Don't just go with whoever's complimenting you. You have to look at it from a bigger picture, pull back the helicopter view and say, okay, are they adding value to my life? Are they wanting to provide for me? Are they willing to say, if they're going to the store, are they willing to say, hey, do you need anything? Are they doing those small things showing that they're thinking of you and they're caring about you? You always have to ask yourself what's missing. That was one of my first videos that I ever created. And it is so important when choosing a partner to marry for the rest of your life. You want to make a decision that is grounded, that is safe, and you just want to have almost eyes all around you. You know, like every part of your head has eyes, just like a brim of eyes where you can see every aspect of the partnership. And if you have that, you'll never be wondering what's missing because you'll be able to see every aspect of it. And the Eight of Cups, I'm going to read that. So in my other videos, I've talked about how I'm using the tarot of sexual magic, but I'm reading the book of the Light Seers Tarot because I like these two together. They go really well together. So Eight of Cups. It says, she has released her last cup into the sea. Her bowl burning ceremony is over. It is time to walk away from something in your life. Choosing your sacred dream, especially when you're feeling disappointed, is one of the biggest acts of self-love that you can enact. When you take that very first step, you begin to choose yourself. There is nothing more healing or more powerful. Find your resolve and untether any anchors that are holding you back. Though your disillusioned heart may require some TLC, you can realign your path by shedding outgrown expectations, hopes, people, ideas, beliefs, guilt, or ways of being. If you find yourself exhausted or confused or jumping from thing to thing, know that you are entering a mystical period of intense shifting. That releasing old stories will help you to travel lightly. Go in the direction of epic dreams, happiness, and greater meaning. It says, I walk away from negativity and I choose myself in a rebellious act of love, of self-love. So in the Eight of Cups card, I don't know if you can see, it's a woman walking away and she's choosing her happiness. She's choosing this. So maybe you are a female who is leaving a certain relationship to know that this kind of love is out there, and you are in a partnership right now where you're looking at that person's face and you're having conversations with them and there is zero draw. There is zero connection. It's like clear as day. You're looking at them and you're going, oh my gosh, how am I in this partnership? How does this make sense? Like, how did I get here? This is not who I am. And I just want to comfort you and say, that's okay. You've changed, you've grown, you're different now. You're not the same person you were when you met that person. So that was perfect. You met them when you needed them. They served a purpose in your life and your healing and your growth. And now it's time to kind of step away and walk away from that because this is waiting for you. This kind of deeper connection. Really, really beautiful. I love this card. This is my first time seeing this card. I'm just kind of like in a trance looking at it because I just feel like this is that higher love that most people don't think exists, but it does. You know, people don't believe in the fairy tale love and they think it's all like conjured up in our mind. It does exist, but guess what it takes? It takes you facing yourself in the mirror and facing every fear. Because when you meet your true match, they are you. They are reflecting all the parts of you that you don't like about yourself. So you're going to have to settle in and learn to love every aspect of you. Just like this said, I walk away from negativity and I choose myself. So when you're leaving whatever you're leaving, you're choosing you, but you're also choosing your partner because they are you. They're your match. So the beautiful part, once you reach that level of self-love, you see the parts of you that, you know, maybe your older self used to beat you up for, maybe how your body is or how you talk, or maybe like for me, a big insecurity is that I feel like I don't know a lot about a lot of things. Like I feel like I'm always in my spiritual bubble, my self-growth bubble. I know a lot about how to live life and how to be awesome and how to feel good through it and how to connect and how to follow my intuition. But there's a piece of me that, you know, I don't know history facts. I don't know science facts. I'm not huge into math. So there's parts of me that have major insecurities, and I'm sure one day I'm going to meet somebody and they're going to be wicked smart and I'm going to be really intimidated and I'm going to feel like stupid around them, but I'm going to have to face that. I'm going to have to see that and have compassion for myself and say, oh, if they're my other half, maybe they're holding the part of my brain that I didn't get. They're filling that little area that maybe that was their desire to know everything. And my desire was to do the work that I'm doing and to be more in my body than in my logical mind. And I'm aware of that, and I'm learning that it's going to be okay in the future. I'll figure it out when it happens. But that is a huge insecurity of mine, that I'm not smart. So I'm sharing this. I'm hoping that you can maybe look at the parts of you that you have insecurities about, and know that when you have a partner who's mirroring you, you're going to be called to face that. And that doesn't mean you're not supposed to be with them, because you're going to be triggered. It's going to feel like, oh my gosh, like I can't be in this partnership because they don't make me feel good. That's what I'm saying. There is a fairy tale, but it also is paired with a lot of fear. And we have to be willing to walk through the fear and walk through the fire in order to get to this kind of level of love. But with a partner that's awakened, like what I read to you, they're willing to transmute that fear into love. They're willing to walk through the fire. And transmute just means transform. Like you're taking something and you're using it to your benefit, and you're seeing how it's working for you, and then you're walking towards what is best for you. And that also means when you walk towards what is best for you, guess what you're walking away from? All the stuff that's not best for you, the best for you. Okay. Now let's do, I really love this deck. I don't know why. I don't know if you guys love that when I use it, but I just think it's beautiful to look at. And it's called the Hidden Truth Oracle, and it's all like messages from your person. It says, I look for you everywhere. I think this means like, if you've met your person and maybe you're not together, maybe they keep seeing you and you look like other people, or maybe they're literally like around you and somehow looking for you. Like maybe you teach at the same school, or maybe you're at maybe you, I don't know, work together, or maybe you go to the same coffee shop every day and you're just kind of like observing each other. It's like he's looking for you everywhere. Okay, I'm going to spread these out because they just look really pretty when I do this. I love this. All right, let's see where we land. My life is not as together as it seems. I'm going to do 3 more. I want to be more than friends. Ever since I got this deck, I feel like I keep pulling the same like 7 or 8 cards. It's really weird. I am afraid to contact you. So you make them super nervous. And this is normal, because when we are connecting, so in a twin flame bond, in a deep soul tie, in a soulmate connection, it is so intimidating to meet somebody who you just really like admire and you want to be around. And, you know, I've had many different soulmates in my life, and each time it starts out, it's just like this excitement, this giddiness, this, it's like you're scared. And the fear, so where that fear is coming from is you're yearning to be loved and to be accepted, and you don't want to mess up something that feels so good right now. And that's where the fear comes from, because you don't want to like say the wrong thing. You don't want to not do enough and not be super nurturing and caring and ask and return questions. And the beautiful part about all of this is because we have so many opportunities to feel this way. So for me, I probably have felt like maybe 4 or 5 different times the start of a new partnership and this excitement, and each level of my life. And for you all going through the same thing, it's kind of like every one of those situations, they're all the same. You know, one's not particularly like your partner for life. It's just where you're at that time in your life. It feels like it's it. You're like, this is it. This is my person. You know, I'm supposed to be with them. And when we notice that we're not married yet, or we're not in a long-term partnership, or maybe we are, but like wherever you're at, you don't need to think about the future. You don't need to like think, is this it? Is this my person? Am I going to marry them? You just stay present in the moment to enjoy the connection, to sit there and say, wow, this feels really good that I can't wait for him to text me. This feels really good to kind of like, give him a task of being like, hey, can you take me on a date? And let him figure it out, let him plan it. And you're not going in your head to, well, if he's not planning dates now, then what's he going to be like to be my husband? And if he's not saying this, then that means he's not going to be a good husband. Don't go there in your head. Just be very present. Be very grateful for each smile. Be very excited for when the universe makes your paths cross without you manipulating it. Oh, I'm so glad I just said that. I was feeling called last night to talk about manipulation. So manipulation is when we are trying to finagle our reality to make the partnership happen. And that is going against the universe. That is you grabbing the wheel of the car and saying, I'm driving this. I'm going to force this to happen. I'm going to make it work. And you can't do that. Because when you do that, when you're manipulating, when you're planning out where you're going to be, if you're going to see them, you're planning out your text messages, you're like almost baiting him or her with a message to see what they're going to say, or maybe you're saying something that's not true to make them like you more. And that's just typical relationship talk. We don't alter who we are to please somebody else, but so many people subconsciously do that because back here in their subconscious, they are yearning to be loved. They're yearning to be the best partner, and they're putting their all out there in the beginning, and it's like a love bomb, and you're trying to be the best, you're trying to say the right things, and sometimes you're manipulating and you don't even know it. So I'm going to call all of you watching now to pay attention to your patterns in your partnerships, whether you're married for 10 years, new partnership, single. Start to see how you manipulate. This is a huge pattern that I had to unlearn, and it took me a really long time because I was always manipulating. I was manipulating people, I was manipulating partners, and I was manipulating them so that I could be seen in a certain light, so that I could get what I wanted, so that I could just control my reality. I didn't trust in the universe. I didn't trust that, oh, if I just sit here, the universe will bring me what's meant for me. I don't need to go out and force it. If you just start talking to a guy and he asks you, meet him at a bar and he asks you out, you don't sit around like researching him, and you don't sit around like trying to plan out what you're going to say on the date. That's manipulation. You just relax and you just show up and you respond from your heart. And you also have a really keen eye and ears, and you listen for his manipulation. You listen to see if he's manipulating his reality to fit you, because you want to steer him in the right direction so that he can just be himself and he doesn't have to manipulate. And a lot of times people do manipulate. We manipulate ourselves, our reality, to try to be accepted. And what that comes from is from childhood, when we were told that we had to be a certain way to be loved. Your room has to clean for me to be happy. Your grades have to be a certain way for me to be happy. And I'm saying me as the parent. You have to perform a sport a certain way for me to be proud of you. And that's all manipulation. So now you're going out thinking you need to perform in order to receive love. That's not unconditional love. Unconditional love is you just sitting on the couch, breathing, and a loved one coming up and just saying, I love you, and just hugging you so tight. You don't need to perform. You don't need to talk. I just love you for breathing. That's what's missing in our world. We, at our age, if you're around in your 20s and your 30s, 40s, however old you are watching, it is your job now to flip that. We have to start treating our children as if they are this precious being that's just sitting there and we just love them. They don't have to make us proud. We just love them for how they show up. And we watch them fall and we watch them get hurt, and we don't try to prevent it. We allow, because when you're manipulating, you are grabbing the wheel and trying to live their life for them. You are trying to steer them to where they need to be in order to be successful. What does that really look like? Wouldn't you rather have your kid figure it out when they're 10 or 12 years old, what makes them happy, instead of feeding them and pushing them to do all these activities that they might not even love to do, or that you're not even giving them space to have alone time for 2 days to figure out, what can I do when I'm bored? Who am I? What do I like? When we're constantly shoving stuff down their throat, they don't have time to breathe, to think, to feel, to experience what it's like to be in their body, creating what it is that they want to create in the world. And we have to give kids that time and space, and we have to give ourselves that time and space, and we have to give our partners that time and space. And it all comes back to manipulation. How are we manipulating ourselves, and how are we manipulating other people into being who we want them to be? And we have to stop. We have to cut that cord, and we have to start really, really just loving the person, how they're showing up for us. And we have to pause and say, okay, I just want to be really, really authentic on this date. I just want to be really authentic with my friends. I'm not going to manipulate the conversation to make myself look a certain way. I'm going to be raw. I'm going to be real. I'm going to say, these are my insecurities. These are my faults. This is what I need work on. And when you do that too, I'm going to finish off this rant. When you do that, guess what you do? You give everybody around you permission to be real and authentic in return. So you're opening this door and saying, hey, follow me, everyone. I'm going to walk through and I'm going to be myself, and I'm not going to manipulate anymore. I'm not going to try to force things to happen. I'm not going to try to coerce or try to draw in somebody with like a rope. You're trying to draw them into your energy, into your life, and to be your partner. And they have to fit in this certain little box, and they have to say certain things, and they have to do certain things for you. You have to throw that whole idea out and just show up, observe them. If you really enjoy your time with them, you keep engaging. If something's a trigger, you don't try to change them, because that's how they are, and not everybody is capable of change. So start practicing this in your own life, start teaching it to your kids, start teaching it to children who you are around, whether it's nieces or nephews, like for me. But don't be afraid to be who you are. You do not have to manipulate your reality anymore, because you went through that as a kid, and you don't have to do that anymore. You are loved just for breathing, just for smiling, just for showing up and listening. All right, let's do one more. You and I were too young. This one comes out often too. It's just like, it's basically saying like a partnership that you met and it was like not the right time. So that's what that card means. Okay, yikes. Good morning messages. Thank you, Spirit. That was really good. And I knew I wanted to talk about manipulation, because so many of us do it and we're not aware of it. And manipulation sounds really bad, but guess what? We're human. We go through trauma as kids. We go through pain. We have to start like looking at ourselves with a magnifying glass and say, why do I do that? Holy crap, I am doing that. Oh my God, thanks, Michelle. I am manipulating my reality all the time. I'm always trying to make myself look a certain way, or I'm always trying to, manipulate somebody to make them think that I'm a certain way. And the biggest time, the thing that I did the most in my early years of dating, is I would make it seem like we were meant to be. I wouldn't let the universe do its work. I would subconsciously be looking for ways that there was like signs, and they're meant to be my person, or they're meant to be the one. And I didn't just like let it happen. And then when I had that story in my head, I was creating a fake reality, and it wasn't really real. So I'm so blessed that I had that experience, because now when I enter partnerships and friendships and just like building better bonds with people, I really just let it happen. And I see the missing pieces, like we talked about earlier. What's missing here? I wonder if they're not saying this, if they're not like saying like, I hope you get home safe, like maybe they're not capable. They don't really know how to love yet. Maybe they grew up in a home where there was no love, and their brain doesn't go to that idea to like, let me think about somebody else and their safety, because they're so worried about their own safety. They're like still in that healing survival mode. And that would be like a red flag for me, because I would want somebody who's on that similar path, that's already doing their healing. They're wanting to grow. They're nurturing with their words. They're always able to think of the other person. Basically, they're just free and they have a lot of space in their body. I want a match to that. Like I want a match to me. And I know sometimes that people show up in my life and they think that they're there and they're not quite there yet because they can't see what it's like to be me. And I have to be discerning and say, you know what, we're just not there yet, you know, and I can't say it that way, but I want you all to think about where you're at in your growth and really be discerning and be diligent about who you let in to match you, because it's not your job to teach somebody for the rest of your life. You know, a lot of women take on the role of the fixer. I can fix him. I can make him better. I see his potential. You deserve that awakened man that I read earlier, somebody that will show up for you, that will walk through their fear, that will be vulnerable, and you're seeing the growth happen weekly. Like you're seeing them change, you're seeing them make strides. They take action. They're not just mediocre in their lives, not doing anything to better themselves. That's a huge piece. And the self-care routine is like a big indicator of that. If you're with somebody who does not have a self-care routine, that's a huge red flag, because they aren't quite valuing themselves enough to take care of themselves. And whatever that may look like, it could be reading, it could be educating themselves, it could be being creative and building something, it could be working out, eating healthy. So just be mindful of that too. I hope you enjoyed all of these. I should do like a red flag video. I think that would be fun to see like all the red flags to look for when you first start dating somebody. Okay, let's end off with a few like positive messages. Holy cow. Okay, we got 4. We have solitude, self-acceptance, independence, and loneliness. Yikes, universe. Lots of solitude, loneliness, independence, a lot of being by ourselves, truly accepting ourselves. So we have butterflies and are these daisies? Another butterfly. Okay, I'm going to read them to you. Solitude. Once you embrace the inner divine and your own sacred solitude, the right people arrive at the right time, exactly on schedule, without forcing or chasing. Holy shit. Without forcing or chasing. That is manipulation. When you force something and when you chase it and when you're trying to grab it and trying to like control how it's unfolding, that's manipulation. This is so perfect. So when you are just loving yourself and you're in your zone and you're doing your mission, you're doing your self-growth, you're doing your morning routines, whatever it is that lights you up, that puts you in a self-care, I love myself mode, the right people will show up and you will not have to manipulate. It will be easy. It will literally just show up in your life and you'll be like, wow, it's here and I didn't have to do anything. Okay, self-acceptance. Nothing is more exhausting than endlessly working on yourself. When you offer your whole being fully to love, self-acceptance arises spontaneously. May I rest in your oneness, dear divine. And this means like all that self-growth and your self-care, like it's okay to rest every once in a while and not be so like attached to it. You can just be for a little bit. And this card, I like how it matches my outfit, all the different colors. Independence. The more you learn to feed yourself on the inside and care for the inner child, the more freestanding you become. Help me feed and love this inner child, dear Lord. Self-care. Well, hello. Okay. Last one of the day. Loneliness. When you stop fearing your aloneness, you stop settling for less than you deserve. May I embrace and love my solitude, and that's when kindred spirits can finally come. So we have literally the solitude card and this card that says, may I embrace and love my solitude, kindred spirits can finally come. And this talks about the right people arrive at the right time. So if you are waiting on somebody and you're not waiting, you're just loving yourself, living your life, they're going to show up when you're finally okay with not having them around. So embrace being independent and on your own, and know that when that person arrives, no chasing, no manipulating, you just let it be there. And you see how, so say like you're driving in a car You're driving in a car and all of a sudden another car pulls up next to you. That's your person, right? Or it could not be your person, but you're driving next to them. And if you're driving at the same speed, you're a match. But if somebody's coming in and kind of like swerving into your lane and they're driving really fast one day and they're driving really slow another day, they're trying to manipulate. They're trying to make things work by driving fast. They're trying to swerve into your lane by taking over your life and telling you what to do. So that's manipulation. When it's not manipulation, that person will just pull up next to you and you're still in your lane going the same speed. You stay the same speed, but you're now just next to each other. So if your speed changes when somebody comes into your life, that's a red flag. Because your life should just continue on its normal path and then they just come along for the ride with you. And you cheer each other on and you dance in separate cars and maybe you like hop out of your cars and dance together for a little bit for a night. But basically you ride together in life. But when your speed changes, you are either trying to manipulate, you're trying to keep up with them, you're slowing yourself down and not doing your self-care. When you slow down, that means you're reverting back to older patterns and you're coming back to their speed. You don't want to do that. You want to stay at your own pace consistently, doing what you love. You're not changing who you are and changing your current life the way it is. But first, you have to figure out what is your speed, what car are you in, where are you going, and that's your passion, your purpose, your self-care. All of those things kind of tie together. I really love this analogy that they just gave me. I've never said this before. I've done the driving together, like staying in separate lanes, but I've never done the swerving and the speeding and figuring out like what music is playing, what your car looks like. That's all like who you are. You know, your lane is all you, and whatever is in that lane, the car, you, the music, the speed, where you're going, the destination, that's all defining you as a human, and your person should not alter that. They should just add some fun next to it. I hope you enjoyed these messages. This was a really good one this morning. I have no idea what I'm going to title it. I always struggle to find good titles because I want it to be catchy for people to grab and to watch. But there's always like 50 million different good things that come up in these readings. But I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll say something about driving or divine connection because I feel like that pulls people in. I hope you guys have a good Thursday. Don't forget, Eight of Cups. This connection is possible without manipulation, without control. You just have to be in your own lane, do your own thing, and they will show up. All right, lovies, have a good one. I'll see you next time.